The verdict is in, as the judge in Wright's case has ordered that half of all the Bitcoins mined by Wright and Kleiman go to Kleiman's estate. Not credible, submitting false evidence, and even guilty of perjury were the words used. As always, the truth always does come out in the end, ladies and gentlemen. An Australian hacker pleads guilty to stealing 100,000 ZERP. Ethereum is hard forking. And is Bitcoin gearing up for its next move? Let's find out in today's exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Welcome to Breaking Bitcoin, recorded live for you here in the studio, Tuesday, August 27th, 2019. Foul year of our Lord, your daily source for market updates, sentiment, and news for traders and cryptocurrency investors. My name is Justin Wise, lead analyst and senior mentor at crackingcryptocurrency.com. Hopefully you guys are doing absolutely fantastic wherever you happen to be tuning in from, and whether you're watching us from across YouTube, Twitch, DLive, Facebook Live, or on Roku with the Investor News Channel app. If you want to support the show, make sure to subscribe, follow, share, and engage in the live chat. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Today's episode of Breaking Bitcoin is brought to you by us. If you are new to trading, an aspiring trader, or an experienced trader looking to sharpen your skills, make sure to head over to premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com and see what the premium trading group can offer for you. Exclusive trade signals and setups, our proprietary pathways to profit course, our indicators and spreadsheets, as well as our educational content and our database library and our supportive community of traders and mentors. Premium.crackingcryptocurrency.com. Link is in the description down below. Guys, we've got a fantastic show for you today. As I talked about, we've got so much to talk about. And honestly, wasn't sure I was going to make it here for you guys today. So you'll have to excuse me if there's anything that might be technically off. I did a revamp of the studio. I went to a new monitor setup. I wasn't able to switch my mic over, but it's important to be here every day. I love doing the show. We got to break down the markets. I've been watching the charts all day. So I'm here for you guys, as I am every single day, and we're going to do our best. So just bear with me if there's any technical glitches. All right, guys, I want to thank yesterday's crypto comment giveaway winner, David Rice, and we're going to start off today's show, as we always do, by giving away some crypto. I scratched my desk, man. Oh, man. As we always do, by giving away some cryptocurrency. I want to thank this month's crypto comment giveaway sponsor, X42 Protocol. Make sure to check them out at x42.tech. All right. Yeah, that one always gets me, man. All right, guys. So we've got the random YouTube comment picker pulled up here, and we're just going to hit load comments. And we've got 26 potential winners from yesterday's video. We're just going to click randomly pick a winner. And WindyBrownEye, congratulations, my good friend. Thank you so much for the support. He says, thanks. I found that Forex export list on Discord, but not the G drive. Maybe I missed it. Thanks again. It is in there in the premium start pack that you'll have access to as a premium member. Go to the premium start packet and look under its TradingView watch list. It's its own folder, and I've got in there the specific watch list that you can export directly into TradingView. I've got the Binance segregated into large sat, mid sat, and low sat tether pairs. I've got the Kraken watch list there, the Coinbase watch list there, the BitMEX watch list there, the ByBit watch list there, and of course my Oanda watch list for trading the 28 major currency pairs on Oanda. Mr. Hut QC, crypto beginner, Bitcoin millionaire. How are you guys doing this morning? I see you guys in there. So Wendy, you know the drill. Get a hold of me in the Discord and I will tip you some crypto, guys. All right. With that being said, let's get over into the markets. All right. So where were we yesterday, guys? Where were we yesterday? We were right around here as we were speaking yesterday. We were tapping up against that resistant order block that I've been talking about for a couple of days now. Really, I talked about it on Friday. We traced back its origin on Friday, and then we talked about it also on Monday as well. Yesterday, we talked about it as well in the plays off of that. And what I said was, anything inside the resistant order block we can sell into. If we do cross and close the 2 hour above the resistant order block, I was going to flip my position and I was going to take the trade to the upside. MT Coiner, good to see you, man. And Caprica 1977, what's going on? And Scott, thanks for straggling in, man. No, big shout out to Scott, man. He really helped get us on track this morning with getting everything set up and ready for the show. All right, so we also, now this is not directly the trade that I had recommended yesterday or that I said I was taking, but this was the example that I was talking about. We were exactly at this price yesterday when price was pulling back. And I used this risk ratio example, this short position tool on TradingView, to demonstrate how to properly set a position size. So if you guys are confused about that, if you guys are struggling with position sizing, with your money management, make sure to go back and check out yesterday's video. There is a timestamp in the description of the exact part of the video where I talk about that. In fact, I talked about 3 aspects of money management yesterday. I talked about when should you add to your position size in a trade. I talked about what happens if you get a concurrent signal while you're already in a position and what that should mean as far as how you're position sizing. I talked about how to make sure that your capital is hedged if you are in a short position and your stop loss should get hit. And I also talked about, in the guise of that, I talked about position sizing appropriately. So definitely check that out. It was one of the better videos that we've done. Yesterday's show is absolutely fantastic, and I feel that the information that is in there is really going to age well. So, obviously these live stream videos don't often get a whole lot of playback value because a lot of people do come here for today's analysis of the markets, and often that's not as relevant tomorrow. But I would disagree with that insofar as this channel goes, because the reason why you guys come here, I hope, and I think this is true, is because we talk about stuff that other traders don't talk about. I've been very blatant about this. I think that a majority of people out there posturing as traders or talking about traders do not actually have a lot of good experience in the market, do not actually know what they're talking about. And I think they're incentivizing people to approach trading as gambling, reckless gambling, and not strategic gambling, not playing the numbers game. And we are all about psychology, money management, and risk here, because that is what generates long-term success. All right, guys. So let's talk about what Bitcoin's doing right now. B-Flow, Andrew Munns, and Kit. Good to see you guys. Ken as well. Good to see y'all. Chris S., thank you so much for the sub on YouTube. Welcome to the community, my good friend. All right, so we'll start off on the daily as we like to do. We'll get rid of the lines, obviously, for the daily. We'll make sure that our baseline is correct. Yep, we are using the 13 baseline, just making sure we had that switched over from Forex. Let's go ahead and take a look at our indicators. Minx is still bearish. Now it is above the noise line, curling down on today's candle, but we are still quite a bit of ways away from the 0 line, which is going to be right around here. The 0 line crossing and closing above that. We have not done that for quite some time. In fact, the last time that we did was just a temporary fake out. So overall, Minx is letting us know that we are in a bearish market state. So the thermometer is bearish. Wadatar explosion is bearish as well. Now we've had some low volume and low volatility days, and we do have a falling explosion level as we come in. Now today's candle is printing above the dead zone. Unfortunately, it is also printing below the explosion level, which would potentially be an exit signal for your short. However, that's not how we are using it in today's thing. So, in today's analysis. So just something to be aware of. Wadatar explosion is measuring the momentum. It is measuring the volatility. It is a faux indicator for volume as well. That's what we use it for. We use it as a stand-in to let us know when it is optimum to be initiating a trade. Now we've been in a trade for a while, and WADA is not our exit indicator. So we're going to be congruent to that pretty well. Now if we take a look at time transformation on the daily is crossing up above the signal line. Now this, cannot argue against this. This is an opportunity to be exiting our trade. And seeing as our trade is in profit, should we be closing the daily like this, this will be something to potentially pay attention to. But this is an area of the market where I do need to apply a little bit of discretion to. And if you go back to yesterday's video where I talked about Bitcoin trading volume, and let's actually go back to the last 30 days and not just the last 3 days. Give this a second to collate. So you can see here on the 25th, the massive amount of volume coming in. And every time we've had a massive outlier in volume spikes, and I went back and charted every single day when this occurred over the last 30 days in Bitcoin's period, every single time that occurred, we had a very violent move coming in from Bitcoin, a very violent move. Now, often in the very next day. So really in an awkward time in Bitcoin's price, as I talked about, overall, my bias is bearish, going from the weekly all the way down to the 3-day. And of course, our trades being generated on the daily time frame. The overall conditions of the market, I think, are bearish. We have tested these levels of support multiple times. We are looking for any excuse to break the support and descend down here to where I have my limit buy order set to be scaling out of my short position. I think that's overall going to be a retreat and a retrace of, and honestly, just a larger correction. I think that obviously, if you look at the way that the market is right now, this is a corrective, or this is a distributive pattern. You guys are familiar with Wyckoff methods of accumulation and distribution. There are 4 phases of a market cycle. You have accumulation, you have price markup, and then you have distribution, and you have markdown. You'll also have 2 antecedents to that, which is also reaccumulation and redistribution. I do not think that this is reaccumulation. And the problem, so the comprehension of understanding the market cycles like that is very helpful. But the problem with using that as some form of directional bias, I don't think works. That's too subjective, because you will never know whether a period of consolidation was reaccumulation or distribution. And just to break that down, reaccumulation would be a period of consolidation or ranging activity where price then breaks to the upside after that consolidation period is done. So you'll often see this in bullish markets. This is an indication of a continuation of the bullish trend. And what this actually represents when we come down to the order book is that you had accumulation at the bottom of the market cycle when institutional order flow stepped in and purchased up price. Malicious upload, thank you so much for the resub. 5 months, bringing it hard, man. The man, the myth, the legend, the strategy testing pro. Malicious upload, thank you so much, my good friend. Happy to have you guys. Happy to have you in the squad, my dude. So period of reaccumulation, or excuse me. Accumulation is when we have institutional order flow accumulating a asset at the bottom of the market cycle at a very cheap price. These are going to be your whales. These are going to be your very large pocketed speculators. And I've talked about this at length. You do not want to be trading like that as a retail or even as a professional trader. The reason why is because you're just in a different class. When you have an edge in a low liquidity asset like cryptocurrency, when you have the edge of market share, you are in a different league from somebody who has a different edge, right? The problem, I've highlighted the issue of trading reversals so many times. You are trading in the hot zones in the market. You are trading in the areas where price is likely to be pushed against you, especially if you are trading leveraged Bitcoin futures. And we do know that it is mostly Bitcoin futures where the true price discovery is occurring. If you do not believe that, then I think that you are being disingenuous or uninformed. We have the most volume being traded on futures platforms. We have the best tools on futures platforms. We have the best liquidity on futures platforms. And make no doubt about it, that is where true price discovery is occurring. I think that the truest price discovery is most likely coming from the CME markets. And I do have a strong faith is the wrong word. I have a very good belief that backed is going to be the future price discovery vehicle for Bitcoin's true price, because they're going to be physically delivered Bitcoin futures contracts. But again, when we get into markets such as these, commodities is a very good example. It is the futures market that dictates price discovery. And again, the reason for that comes exactly back to comes back to edges in the market. And the edge in the market in the futures markets is going to be money. It's going to be purchasing power, because there's more volume. Because especially when we're talking about cash settled futures contracts, you can just go to an investment bank, a broker can, or an institutional investor. They can just go to a bank and receive a very large amount of leverage and utilize that edge in the market to do a massive campaign of purchasing or to do a massive campaign of selling, because you can sell an asset on cash settled futures without holding the underlying or having ever purchased the underlying asset. And this is how gold and silver futures markets and gold and silver spot price has been manipulated by the CME cash settled futures for decades. And Bitcoin's price is no different. It is no coincidence that CME cash settled futures were launched right before December 17th, 2017, the all-time high of Bitcoin's price, and right before we entered into a near 18-month long bear market. There is no coincidence to that. We've seen it in gold, in silver. We saw it in Bitcoin. These things do not just occur randomly. Everybody who holds a Bitcoin did not just decide to sell in mass. But I digress. So anyways, the issue then becomes, don't trade reversals because you don't have the deep pockets to sustain that position. You need to, again, I'm not here to tell you how to trade. I'm just here to tell you what has been successful for me, what I have taught my students, what I currently teach my students, and what I find is the most reliable way to trade as a retail investor or even as a professional trader. When we're working with, let's say, less than anywhere from, we could probably push it up to 5 million, but $1 million and under in working capital, right? So anything from 5,000 in working capital up to $1 million or $2 million, depending on, if you're trading a firm's money at a very high level. Typically you're not even going to be trading that much generally. You're generally going to be starting off with $250,000 if you're trading a firm's money, and generally work your way up to $500,000, potentially $1 million. And often you're going to get far less than that when you first walk in the door if you're a new professional trader. But I digress. Let's take a moment and go to the chat, guys. Robot Never Die, thank you so much for following over there on Twitch, my good friend. Highly appreciated. Dark Rico, thank you very much, man. He says yesterday's show was excellent information, well worth the time to watch it. Highly appreciated, man. Ken D, I'm actually not familiar with Gregory Manarino. Philip Carr, the man from Manchester. What's going on, my man? WindyBrownEye, yes, you did win. Congratulations, my good friend. Ken D bought $50 worth of Bitcoin today. Right on, man. And he's got another 50 burger where that came from. One Fly VW says, are backtest results based on ATR reliable? So when we're talking about backtesting results, it all depends on how you're backtesting. If you're manually backtesting, average true range doesn't repaint unless you have some security function in it, if we're talking about TradingView. But the average true range indicator doesn't repaint. So the value of average true range is going to be the right value. And you can calculate average true range for yourself, because we know for sure one data set that does not repaint, which is going to be closing price. And so it's very easy to pull. I mean, it's work, but it's doable to pull out a calculator and calculate out what is the average true range yourself, because you're just going to be adding the HL2 price. You're going to be summing up the average true range, which is the distance from high to low. So you'll take the high minus the low for the last 15 candles and add that all up, and you're going to get the average, right? So just divide it by the number of candles. 15 is going to give you your average true range. And then that is displayed. So you also have to do an RMA calculation. Finding an RMA calculation is kind of a pain in the butt, but it's available on the internet. Just search for relative moving average calculation. A lot of people don't know what RMA stands for. It stands for relative moving average, which is what is the moving average. So you have a long and a short length relative moving average, and it's the space between those is the relative moving average. But calculating a simple moving average for average true range is fine. And often here's what you're going to find: a simple moving average, an exponential moving average, and a relative moving average, or a weighted moving average. So all the defaults for average true range, they're all going to be the same. They're going to be within a variance of maybe 1 or 2%, right? So it's not that insanely crazy, right? But yeah, there is nothing, I don't think anything unreliable about ATR. It just depends on what you're doing. Now backtest. Now, if you're new to Pine, a lot of people jump into Strategy Tester, and here's the truth. Strategy Tester is not really something you can just jump into and get accurate results. It's taken me quite a long time to learn how to properly program strategy tests, and actually properly programming strategy testers that are not lacking in some element. I mean, it's easy for anybody to go in and write a good strategy, and they're like, oh, hey, great, look what I got. Doesn't work. Go trade that live money and you're going to lose money, because you have to accurately account for fees. You have to accurately account for slippage. You have to accurately account for your money management system, which is the most difficult thing. You have to accurately position size, and all of these things are not intuitive and not hard to do once you know what you're doing. But there's no really resources or support out there for learning how to code in TradingView. The entire, in my opinion, the TradingView community is toxic. When you go on there and try to search for help, I mean, literally, I hang out in the Pine Coders chat on TradingView, and at least 2 or 3 times a day, people come in and they're like, hey, what button is it to do XYZ? And like 4 or 5 people will say Alt F4. It's fucking toxic, man. It's really bad. And I'm always in there trying to be like, nah, man, that's, strategy.input, and of course I can't, I'm not, it's not my job to do that. So I just try to do what I can. But that's why I focus on teaching Pine to the premium members as well. And that's part of the Pathways to Profit course. So because once you know what you're doing, then you can actually go in there and do some damage. And but if you are manually backtesting, there's nothing wrong with doing ATR. Dan says, Justin, you haven't stopped talking for 17 minutes. Wait until the show's over. You'll be like, Justin, you haven't stopped talking for 240 minutes. Young Johnny 3 fam, what's going on, my guy? In a quick explanation, what is the best way, in my opinion, to trade with the Fisher transform? Long equals a crossover of Fisher and -1. Not a bad idea. You can also, so if you're using it as a centered oscillator, that's fine. In fact, if you go watch I know you're a premium member. If you go watch the latest Pathways to Profit video, I actually just put out a video on how to test a centered oscillator for the best initiation level in a very quick manner. It combines the initiator testing spreadsheet, and it also combines the programming, the last programming lesson that I just taught in Pine. So I think that's really going to help you out, find that best initiation level. So when we're talking about the Fisher, I'd probably go down to 2 decimal points. So you'd probably be doing deviations of like 0.01 would be your step value. And I talk about that in there as well. So you can do it as a centered oscillator. You can also do it as a line cross indicator. So you could do, Fisher crossing over the signal line. And of course, in the CC version of Fisher transform, you'll have access to, you have, a myriad of options on the smoothing, and changing those smoothing settings, that's going to make a big difference. Let me tell you that. Malicious Upload says, resub on Twitch equals Pine script question, man. Hey, we're working, man. But yeah, come on, man. Tom S says, quick question, can't find your Wadatar indicator on TradingView. Just go to tv.crackingcryptocurrency.com. There is a link in the description down below. Take you right to it, and you can click on it, my good friend. Mario Mormon says, can I look at link? I will ask Scott to put that in the show notes down there so I can look at it in the request section. Yes, absolutely, my friend. Elijah Finch, what's going on, my man? If a noob bought Bitcoin today, that is a better confirmation than Minx confirming a dump. Weighted moving average is my fave for the average true range. I really do prefer the, I think the EMA and the RMA work the best. But that's my bias. Hey, man. Midwest says, hey, Justin, I know you are currently staying away from the alt market considering Bitcoin's current position. Seems like quite a few are beginning to signal on the 4-hour currently through PTP. Yeah, I mean, absolutely, man. You know, I was kind of expecting that Bitcoin would be already halfway down to 8,000 by now. But again, we just know we have good indications that the market will move. Of course, we don't know exactly when it'll move. You know, just like he comes like a thief in the night. So, yeah, you know, I'm actually, you know, kind of happy with this little bit of, you know, overall sideways action, you know, price retracing. And of course, we're going to talk about this in just a little bit. We're going to talk a little bit more about Bitcoin's price today. But yeah, as long as Bitcoin remains sideways, there will be alt opportunities. And kind of like what we saw yesterday. Like yesterday afternoon, alts were bullish. And then we went in for the evening. And then they just kind of retraced after the daily close. And now they're kind of bullish again. And I wouldn't be surprised for that to happen, man. Tom S. Wadatar is free, yes. One Fly VW, do I use Heikinashi for confirmation of live trades? I have used Heikinashi in the past, and if I have a tiebreaker, that is something that I will look at, yes. When recession? Next week, man. Malicious upload, let me know when this newly premium status is added to my Discord. Okay, let's go look at Bitcoin's price. A little bit more in depth. And we're going to go and hide the alert lines. We'll go down to the 2-hour time frame and we'll bring back the lines and talk about where we are. All right, so yesterday we were talking about breaking above the order block from 10,389 to 10,462. We are on the ByBit chart, 2-hour time frame. We were talking about breaking above that, kind of looking the impetus that we would have seen for that. The first thing that we would have seen, in my opinion, is a bounce off of the 2-hour baseline because that was coming in nicely right around that $10,300 level at around that point in time. And as you can see, we kind of stalled out there for a while, put in a fake out to the downside, a pretty brief retracement. And this is actually what I posted last night, or actually what I posted yesterday. I said, we can sell into anything in the order block. You can sell into anything in the order block, but if we cross and close above, you need to get out of the short and you need to be hopping in the long. So actually we did get that opportunity multiple times over the last few days. We can see those wicks right up into the resistant order block. And again, one last wick, one last hurrah before she goes, and down goes Sally, reaching a low just a few hours ago, reaching a low of 10,031, unable to crack that $10,000 level. That's obviously a psychological level. A lot of people are watching that pretty closely. I think that it is coming sooner than later. Now, we are currently getting resistance from the 2-hour baseline. But, I do want to point out down here on the 2-hour time frame, we can see that the resistance or the ability of the 2-hour baseline to actually reject price typically doesn't hold for that long. It doesn't always signal that that we're going to break through it. But you can see that just over the last few days, that is mostly what's happened. Instead of actually bouncing price back in the dominant direction, it does allow price to break through and make some moves. So overall, my opinion is still the same. If you were following along with the show yesterday, you'd still be in profit from the short trade, but that's not really here nor there. Really where I'm looking for on this is my opinion hasn't changed. I did add at 10,600. I did not add at the resistant order block because, again, I don't want to increase my risk unduly for this trade. Everything that you need to do needs to be from the perspective of risk management and position sizing. This trade matters about as much as whether I choose to have eggs or bacon for breakfast, preferably both. But there's not a huge, the results of any one individual trade never, ever, ever matter. It is the result of your trading activity at the end of the month or at the end of the year is all that matters. So, So while so nothing's really changed here. Looking at anything closing above 10,462, I will be shifting position. I will be taking the long swing. The trade will most likely be up to the $11,000 area at that point in time. I'll be scaling profits out between 10,500 and 11,000. Again, there's nothing has changed as far as my macro view. I still do believe that we're going to break 10,000, break 9,000, and go lower, potentially even break 8,000. But there's no reason to be caught in a short squeeze if we get the signal that that is what is going to occur. And crossing and closing above 10,462 would be a pretty strong indication of that now, in my opinion. Mustache Crypto Man, thank you so much for joining us over there on YouTube, my friend. Welcome to the community. Okay, so that's all I got really for that. Nothing's really changed. Obviously, price moving in our favor. And where are we sitting right now? We have a movement back up to the daily base, or excuse me, to the 2-hour baseline, and a re-entry opportunity. Remember, when you are in a short condition and you're looking for that re-entry, just from a simple perspective, utilizing the baseline, always looking for that reversal baseline bounce. So monitoring this pretty closely still on the 2-hour time frame as we kind of go through this odd transition period, I would call it, in Bitcoin's price action, and really just looking for that good movement, that breakdown of support, and that movement down into that strong bearish trend that we're looking for. And again, does that ultimately excite me as somebody who is an investor in Bitcoin? No, but these things happen. The market fluctuates, and as a trader, when the trade is to the downside, you take the short position. You know, and we just have to look at this. Like, Bitcoin has not done a whole lot of bearish activity. This does not look like we've done a whole lot of bearishness this year. You know what I mean? It's just been pretty up and up and up, and I'll be okay with a little bit of a correction. Now, this is going to be an opportunity where a lot of people are going to freak out. A lot of people are going to sell out of their spot. A lot of people are going to make unfortunate decisions. And that is why we do the show every day, so that we can provide you with a little bit of guidance, a little bit of nuance to how to manage this moving forward. But yeah. All right, 12:34, and we are pumping right along, guys. Back down to the 2-hour, and we'll just chill here. One Fly VW says, is AutoView safe? I'm reluctant to give my API key to a Chrome plugin. I know a lot of guys who use AutoView. I have never used AutoView for your exact concern. There has been only one service that I have plugged my API keys into, and that is 3 commas. That's not exactly correct. I did used to use Coinigy for a while. I do not use Coinigy anymore. I only use 3 commas to trade on Binance, and that's about it. So no, I am not making a statement against AutoView. I'm not saying it's unsafe. I'm saying it's not safe enough for me. Don Candon says, watching Fortnite. You sound like my boy, man. He's a big Fortniter. Young Johnny 3 Fam, win USDT. Sure, man. Let's make sure we put that down there. Let's look over at Mr. Ethereum real quick. Start off on the daily. All right, so over on the daily, let's just go through our indicators one by one. We have Minx crossing and closing below the noise line. What is that for you, the guys in the group? That is a continuation short signal. That is a continuation short signal. We are below the baseline, which allows us to do that. And for a continuation, we don't need to be looking for these things right here. However, I will point out that we have a falling explosion level and volatility and momentum is quite low, meaning that you need to be cautious entering into this type of market. Because there's just not a whole lot of volume and volatility going on, at least here on the daily. We need to see, now here's the thing, a nice clean break, and I'm looking at closing basis, right? So really we're looking at a nice clean break of 184. I think will be more than enough to trigger the selling that we need. Time transformation is bearish as well. We did top below the 0 line, which is a bearish indication for those of you guys who have watched the video in the premium webinar section for premium members about wave theory and the Fisher transform and how it works. So overall, this is a bearish market structure to me, man. This is a bearish market structure. It does not excite me because we are, because price is low. I mean, you guys know how I trade. I look at this and I do not see price sitting on support. I do not see price being cheap. I do not see something being attractive to buy. I see something that looks bearish. It's being sold more than it's being bought. And so I expect that activity to continue until I get strong signals on the daily that the trend is going to reverse, because I like to stay out of impulsive movements. And when I'm looking for these nice long swing positional trades that honestly put the most profit in my pocket, it is the nice long swing trades that generate the most consistent profit for me. They're easy to manage. They're easy to monitor. There is very little stress. They are very easy to find, spot, and enter. And all you have to do, the biggest difficulty to putting on a trade like that is just staying the fuck off the chart, man. You have your clear metrics, you have your directional bias, you have your signal, and then you go, and then you don't do anything unless you get a signal. You just don't. Oh man, my price went up quite a bit. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Oh man, price is creeping toward my stop loss. Who cares? Doesn't matter. Oh man, I should take profit. No, you shouldn't. Just let the trade play out. Let the trade play out. If you set your take profit here and price mixes it by a Satoshi, guess what, man? Shit happens. The worst thing that you can do is step in and start screwing up your trading system. Ken D says, is there some place you can trade everything against BTC? That would be an idea. In case things go boom, the worst that can happen is a losing trade that made wealth due to the dollar's weakness. So are you talking about like trading stocks against BTC or trading commodities or other non-fungible assets? Or fungible assets, actually, in this case. Would be a great way to hedge, buy or sell silver against Bitcoin or stocks against silver. The key idea being you're investing using something other than the dollar. Yeah, I mean, there is a great place to do that. It's right on the tip of my tongue. It's one it's one broker, and that got shut down by the FBI. And for the exact same reason, I have been pretty public. I've gotten probably like 15 emails, and I got this. I'll touch on this because I got the question yesterday. So I've probably gotten 15 emails from the Prime XBT exchange, asking to review their exchange, to be an ambassador, to whatever it is. And I won't do that. So any exchange that markets to Americans, any exchange that markets futures contracts to Americans, and then also says that they can offer, trading, whether it's stocks or whether it's trading gold or whether it's trading any form of contract for difference. So first off, contracts for difference are banned in the United States. And for the exact reason why one broker got shut down is because they were acting as a securities broker without a securities license. Because there's no way that any fly-by-night exchange, who, by the way, is just out to get your money. That's all they want to do. They just want to take your money in. They've seen how much money Binance makes and BitMEX makes and ByBit makes, and they're going to set up this. They're gonna set up this operation, and they're anonymous, and they're going to offer these things that you think are great, and this is the bee's knees now. And you're gonna go there because that's gonna be their edge in the market. Hey, I can trade things that I can't trade anywhere else on this exchange, and then they're gonna get shut down. The owners and the founders are not going to get in trouble. They're just going to whisk away with all the cash that they can extract from this monopoly, from this travesty, and you're going to be left holding the bag. So, any exchange, this is my rule, any exchange that is directly marketing to American citizens that purports to say that you can, or even whether they purport or whether they actually offer you the ability to trade against securities, i.e. stocks, commodities, or precious metals against cryptocurrency, don't fucking do it. Do not put money on that exchange. You will lose your money, just like everybody who put money on one broker lost their money. It is only a matter of time until the FBI or the SEC or the CIA or NASA drops a bomb on them. It's just a matter of time. So yeah, that's a no-no, man. You know, and about that Prime XBT, I actually had a student who had funds on Prime XBT, and they brought it up to me, and I was like, hey, listen, man, not telling you what to do, but if it were me, I would not have funds on that exchange. And, you know, he's like, all right. And then he messaged me the next day. He's like, hey, man, you know, I ended up thinking about it. I withdrew my funds last night, and I checked it today. And sure enough, they just had a whole bunch of like shenanigans go on where like people's funds were moving around in wallets and this and that. Again, I can't speak to the veracity of that. That's just coming to me anecdotally. But it's just... Yeah, no, so there wouldn't be ways to do it synthetically because that would be a contract for difference, and contracts for difference are illegal in the United States. If you're going to offer, you cannot offer a synthetic security. That is a contract for difference. Those are illegal. If you're talking about securities, right? If we're talking about securities and so if we're talking about securities or commodities or precious metals, I think the conversation's dead, right? There's no way to do it. If there was a way to do it, Coinbase would have done it. If there was a way to do it, we would already have a legitimate exchange doing it, right? There's not a way to do it legally. It just doesn't exist. CFDs are illegal. That rules out all synthetic securities. That rules out all synthetic commodities. That rules out all synthetic precious metals. It's just not going to happen. But it would be... but, I mean, you obviously can be trading... I think maybe I see what you're saying. There's synthetic ways to do it, you know, like more complex. Maybe you could like wrap up contracts, you know, as in, you know, be long on the dollar here and short on Bitcoin over here, or long on the Swissy here or short on Bitcoin here. Like, yeah, there would be ways to do it, and you could come up with like derivative packages and spin those up, and you could bid on them. And most likely, you know, where do I see those coming out of? Mostly the Forex brokers that already have their broker's license. So I think, what is it, like Eagle FX and maybe Forex.com already allow you to trade some cryptocurrencies. So potentially they're going to be the ones coming out those. But then, you know, you're talking about creating derivatives, right? And that requires, you know, your own separate license. And, you know, the reason why Awanda and Forex.com and all those people don't offer derivatives, why they only offer like spot Forex, is because when you get into derivatives, I mean, it's so complicated, man. And because of all the laws and regulation against derivatives in the United States, like I said, CFDs were banned. Derivatives are heavily regulated. Options contracts, all those things. You know, options are kind of, you know, obviously options are really popular in the States because CFDs got banned. If CFDs were legal, I don't think anybody in the States would trade options. I don't see why anybody would want to, you know? Like, you know, everybody thinks that options are just great. Options suck, dude. They're complicated. They require a lot of calculation. And I'm not saying that they suck as in like you can't make a lot of money. A lot of people have success, but 99 out of 100 people who trade options lose money, right? You got to be really good at options to trade money. It's not easy. It's not easy, right? I know, I've traded options. I don't like trading options. They suck. Oh, I mean, yeah, I see. I mean, if you entered them yourself, right? I mean, the issue then comes down to like, you know, the availability and where you would get them. Yeah. So that was a deep dive into the legality and potentialities. Deribit's fine, man. Deribit's an okay exchange. I have no problem with Deribit. But I kind of had a big choice to make when I went off of when I really withdrew most of my funds from BitMEX, and that was, am I going to go Deribit or am I going to go ByBit? And I had that, I was weighing both options. If you guys go back just a while back, it was like 3-4 months, I was weighing those options about what exchange to go to, because I knew I wanted to get off BitMEX. And I put money on both. I put money on Deribit. I put money on ByBit. I enjoyed trading on both, but ultimately it was ByBit's customer service that won me over. I mean, just absolutely amazing. All my interactions with their staff were absolutely amazing. Any issues that I had were solved like that. I had live chat right there, and that stuff really, really matters to me, man. And it should matter to a lot of people as well, because that means that if I have an issue on the exchange, I have a good, so I don't want to say faith or trust, but I have a good reason to believe that ByBit will make it right, because I've seen them do it so many times, right? Whereas, I'm not saying that I had a negative experience on ByBit, but I didn't have an overwhelming call home to mom experience with Deribit. And with ByBit, I did, and again, it's, call it a shill, whatever you want, you know what I mean? But I like trading on ByBit, and customer service really matters to me. Like, when it comes to customer service, I'm like that old curmudgeon grandpa, get off my lawn, you know what I mean? Like, I really, Okay, guys. It is 12:48, and I think that's enough rambling from me. Let's. Hey, Philip, man, thank you so much for the 20 quid, my brother, dude. Thank you. Pumping it up in Manchester. He says, that is for yesterday's show, pal, which was excellent. Thank you, man. Thank you guys so much, man. Thank you, Philip. I got to start doing something like fun when people donate money, We've had some options about this, like, maybe if individuals donate money, they can come, I don't know, just lots of cool things that we could do to give back to the people who support the show, because so many people have reached out and supported the show and helped us out, and we just want to make things entertaining and exciting for you guys. The idea we were just on for 10 minutes or so is just a way of trying to untie investments or speculation from the dollar and the potential for it to be weaker or gone when you want to cash in. Yeah, I agree. Hey, no problem, man. Thank you. Today's show, not so much. Boo that man! Boo! I vote for pie in my own face for the next person that donates $100. Well, guys, thank you for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Let's just wrap this up real. Okay. We've got about 10 minutes. Let's go through the Forex markets, guys. So, last couple days, just absolutely crazy volatility coming in from the Forex markets. We had the Jackson Hole Symposium. And so largely going into Friday, as the week was closing out on Awanda for me, I just didn't put on a whole lot of new positions, right? And I put on like 2 new positions, and, it's whatever you want to call it, but had good success with those, because we saw Sunday night when the markets opened up, just big candles, big explosions, pretty much across the entire market, right? And again, when you're moving into a news event like that, when we have the Jackson Hole Symposium going on, that's typically just a time when you don't want to be putting on positions, because, if the trade can move this far in your favor, that means it can move that far against your favor, against your stop loss. And who wants to be doing that, man? The risk isn't worth the reward, in my opinion. So So anyways, but it's Tuesday. Things are winding down a little bit. Volatility's still pretty high. So let's look at what we've got going on today. Please pour soy milk over your head for each donation over $10. I don't think, yeah, so that's more like, what's her name? The girl who was selling her bathwater. I mean, she would be down to do stuff like that, man. We're all about, listen, we're all about fun here, man. But that's like some teenager stuff, man, you know? Like, I'd rather give away t-shirts or, you know, maybe do like live one-on-one portfolio chats with people or, I don't know, pump up the jam. You know what I mean? I think, you know, I would feel like morally questionable if people wanted to buy my bathwater. You know what I mean? Jeez. I guess it's rough out there for a dude, man. Yeah, man. And then, you know, if I poured soy, you know, I think that soy milk probably leaches all the testosterone out of your skin. So I would probably be on here, you know, enough of that, man. I'd be like, you know, I'd be like Roger Ver on here, dude. I'd be like rage quitting. And, you know, I'd be starting to say like, man, we should invest heavily in fucking XRP. Go long on Justin's bathwater. You guys are nuts, man. Partner with Ledger X and start giving those bad boys out. That's not a bad idea. I really do like the Ledger X. Scott, reach out to Ledger X. Thank you so much, Blockchain Gains, for smashing that like button. Make sure if you guys like the content, hitting that like button does let us know that you like to see, maybe not my face, but it's probably just the background. You guys come for the dinosaur head, right? You guys can't see the dinosaur head right now in all its glory, but... anyways, Aussie Yen. Aussie Yen is really in a no trade zone for me. We did hit the oversold level on yesterday's candle where, you know, obviously we just wicked down. Insane volatility coming in on Monday, as I talked about. We do need to make some adjustments here, excuse me, if we're going to be charting Forex. Switch our baseline up. All right. And we need to go grab... the Fisher Transform Indicator. All right. And users. All right, let's take a gander here. So no clear signal coming in here on the Aussie Yen. There's really nothing to do except for potentially be looking for a continuation short. Battery level is critical on the following device. Wireless mouse MX Master 2S. Oh, dear Lord. I'm gonna need you to hold through, guys. If the mouse dies, bear with me. You'll be saying you're Satoshi. Some dude on DLive made like $2,000 in one streaming session by pouring foreign liquids from his refrigerator over his head. I don't like it either, but it works. Yeah, man, it's rough over there, dude. Yeah, I guess bathwater is a limited supply, man. If someone tips 10 or more dollars, you gotta wear the dinosaur head. I thought about wearing the dinosaur head when we analyze XRP. Or maybe for holidays. Hey, David Rice, what's going on, man? So really nothing coming in here on the Aussie yen, guys. We do have the Fisher transform, which did cross to the upside over here. That's going to be telling us that we're allowed to take longs if we can get one in. But we just don't have one going on right now at this point in time. We're below the baseline, and we are also below the signal line on Minx. Nothing happening here on the Aussie yen. Going to the Aussie Kiwi. Aussie Kiwi looks good, man. The Aussie Kiwi looks quite good. We did get a reversal signal from time transformation that ended up retracing. We are now piercing above that. We're retesting that level of liquidity right above that high, which makes this really a no trade zone for me, as you guys can see. I did take this short, ended up exiting out on this short because of the unnatural volume indication from time transformation. That's the third layer of filtration when we're looking at Forex trades. But if we just look at what our indicators are signaling, we did get the go ahead for the short again on that candle. But as we can see here, Wadatar, that was a trade against the grain. That was a reversal trade against the grain. That was pushing down, looking at the signal on time transformation. And Wadatar explosion on yesterday's candle just completely reversed that. We have a rising explosion level, printing a green column back above the explosion level, really getting us into a small distance long here as well. So really nothing to do for me here on this candle. We'll be seeing if we can get a continuation signal out of tomorrow's close, potentially the next day's close, coming in here on Minx. Looking at the Aussie dollar, you guys can see I did take the Aussie dollar short here. I took some profit here, here, and here, really at the bottom of the market. And there really hasn't been a whole lot going on. You know, price moving sideways for the most part. No volume, no volatility coming in from Wadatar explosion. So this is a market I'm largely out of until this accumulation or redistribution period ends. And we'll take the trade in whichever way the market decides to break. Canadian Swissy is flirting at a long for me here. As you guys can see, it's just reaching its way back up. I always like to stay very, very hesitant about these types of trades because as you can see, we're really, we've tapped against the baseline, rejected hard, came right back, and again, rejected from it again. Now, this is often the time when I do look for that breakout trade for us to actually get above the baseline and start appreciating. This is what I've noticed in my trading as well. Also, time transformation calling that hidden divergence right here just 2 days ago, pretty much on that reversal baseline bounce as well, setting us up for that short. So, I mean, really, unfortunately, the trade on the table right now is, again, the reversal baseline bounce, taking price short off of the baseline. I'm probably going to be pretty hesitant. This is the third test of resistance. And so I'm just going to be pretty cautious, not putting on a trade, and really keeping my eyes on the breakout long on the Canadian Swissy. Canadian yen, you guys can see really nothing to do on the Canadian yen right now, in my opinion. Big volatility coming in off the Canadian yen, and just overall no clear signal for anything. We did get a continuation short signal on this candle that just reversed after that long wick. Actually, to be quite honest with you, price did wick down, would have given us some opportunities. You guys can see here that was actually a trade that I took. Let's take volume off, right? You can see that we did actually hit that take profit one on that long wick down, coming off the continuation signal that we did get. Like the Wadatar was actually confirming that trade as well. But then on this candle, you can see that we hit take profits, but we just reversed. So there's really nothing going here, guys. There's really nothing going here. So Swissy yen, interestingly enough, this is an interesting one. Yeah, reversal long signal right here. But it just completely dumped on us, man. It just completely dumped on us. Not an area where I want to take a trade. We're outside the qualifying line, so I don't really want to be doing anything. Yeah, everything except for time transformation would be pointing to a short on this, but we just got to wait. We did get that short signal over here. Continuation short signal over here. You can see where we took it right here. But, yeah, I don't like this. I mean, this looks bearish to me. The Swissy yen definitely looks bearish to me. But I'd be hesitant about entering it now. Where we did enter it was good. Happy to grab the profits that we did, but really coming in here. The Euro Aussie, it's looking pretty weak to me, man. We just keep consolidating on this level. We did, again, kind of get a continuation long coming off this candle. Would have had an opportunity to hit take profit one on this long wick to the upside, but just not a big sustained trend. And you can see Wadatar Explosion is telling us that right here. Falling explosion level, Bollinger Bands are tightening up. So there's really nothing, there's nothing to do here. We need some volume, we need some momentum before we can be looking to take a trade. Euro CAD. Euro CAD, again, just wiffle waffling, man. Nothing coming in from Wadatar Explosion on the daily. No trades. Bearish bias. Euro Swissy, bullish bias, looking for that breakout. This is going to be the second test of the baseline. You can see, obviously, until we actually do crack the baseline, the trade is the reversal baseline bounce short, right? Taking trade to the downside. And that would be working out for us well now. But be hesitant, guys. We are above Minx, looking for price to crack above that baseline. Wadatar is bullish, printing some good columns. And Fisher is also crossed above the trigger line. So everything looks good to take the long on the Euro Swissy. But we're just not quite there yet. We're not quite there yet. We need to be cracking above 109.11. The Euro Kiwi looks good. I did take the Euro Kiwi long. I am just chilling on the Euro Kiwi right now because momentum is dying out. As you guys can see, I did take the signal with the column printing above. And, obviously price did appreciate well to the upside. But, everything, momentum is dying off. I don't see a continuation signal here. I don't see a new long. I just want to be out of the Euro Kiwi and not taking any trades. The Euro Pound, you guys can see I did end up taking that short, the short I was talking about the other day. Let's delete this. I did circle that. I did take the short on this candle. I ended up taking my profit right here. We do have a new rising explosion level on the Euro Pound. We do have a new rising explosion level on the Euro Pound. So this is all quite bearish. And you can see that taking that signal worked out well. You would have had one candle of drawdown and then price moving in your favor with that nice, again, or actually the signal coming in yesterday, excuse me. So it would have been coming in yesterday. Not even one candle of drawdown. Not even one candle of drawdown, just right in your favor. But again, not a trade I'm in. I would be waiting for the fresh continuation signal. But again, if you're holding the Euro Pound open and you're being a little less discretionary than me, I would definitely, this would be one to keep open. Euro Yen continues on in its bearish momentum, basically giving you the opportunity to take any fresh continuation trade to the downside. Momentum is quite low, so I'd be very hesitant about taking reversal long trades on the Euro Yen. So just looking for fresh opportunities to take shorts on the Euro Yen. Euro Dollar. Let's see here. No clear signal on the Euro Dollar right now. Let's see here. Pound Kiwi a little bit late for the long, although we did get the good signal right here. You can actually see where we took the signal. Now, I exited the Pound Kiwi, very hesitant to trade pound pairs at that point in time, and then just didn't get a good opportunity to get back in the long, as we can see. But you had multiple opportunities. Obviously, here comes the good signal right here, and no really strong exit signal. So you'd have been riding this trend for quite a while. You can see Minx doesn't cross and close below the zero line until potentially today. So potentially giving you the exit signal today, and you'd be selling right at the market, right at resistance. Right at the top, relative top, right at resistance. So really good long trade on the Pound Kiwi for those of you guys following the system accurately. And I really don't have anything to say here. I don't see a good, strong continuation signal. We're well beyond the boundary where we want to be entering. Far too risky to be entering at this point in time right now. So if we can get a nice retrace back below 190.89, that would potentially be something to look at, but nothing right now. Pound CAD does look interesting. The Pound CAD is actually on my radar to be taking a long off of today's candle. So we'll be looking at the Pound CAD right now. Pound Swissy actually looks quite good as well for a long. Pound Yen is not quite there yet. The Pound Dollar is also looking pretty good for a breakout trade. We will look at these in just a little bit. The Kiwi Dollar continues its slump to the downside, looking for a fresh continuation signal. We are actually out of the short right now. We'll be out of the short right now and looking for a good re-entry signal on the Kiwi Dollar. Kiwi CAD, same thing. You could still be following. You could still be taking the Kiwi CAD short at this point in time right now. you should already be in an active Kiwi CAD position. I wouldn't be entering one now. I'd be waiting for a retrace back closer to the baseline, but not the time to exit yet. Kiwi Swissy, I would not be in a trade. The Kiwi Yen, I would still be in a short trade. Looks good. Did hit my last take profits yesterday, but the dollar Canadian is primed for a reversal baseline bounce. Half risk on that one. Pound Aussie is a no trade. The dollar Swissy looks good for a long. Dollar yen is a no trade. The Aussie CAD is a no trade. The Aussie Swissy is a no trade. And the dollar yuan. You could still, by all rights, be riding this long from right here, right? Riding this long from right here. No entry right now. No entry right now. All right, guys, so it's 1:07. We're going to take a quick break, guys. When we come back, we've got some news to talk about. We're going to engage more with the chat. Before we go to break, as a trader, selecting what exchange we're going to be trading on is one of the most important decisions we will make, and I'm often asked as a professional, what are the most important metrics to evaluate when making this decision? And my answer is always the same thing. The three major boxes that any exchanges that I'm considering must check are security, ease of use, and customer service. And an exchange that I utilize to trade my Bitcoin future contracts is ByBit. So you're free to check them out for yourself if you want to make sure that they check all three boxes for you: security, ease of use, and customer service. Again, I talked at length earlier why I made the switch to ByBit, and that was mostly because of their customer service. You can use bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. It's the second link in the description down below. If you use that link, ByBit will give you up to $60 into your margin account so that you can try their platform out. You can't withdraw that $60, but you can use it to generate profit. And of course, you can withdraw any profit you make. So test their platform out risk-free. Make the choice for yourself whether to trade over there or not. bybit.krakencryptocurrency.com. We're going to take a quick break. When we get back, news, chat engagement, and fun times and awesome activities and behaviors. Also gold. Don't go anywhere. Hey guys, thank you so much for coming back to the show and staying with us, guys. If you missed the first hour, you're just joining us for the second hour. We're going to cover the current events in Bitcoin right now and let you know what we think about what's going on in the space of cryptocurrency. But in the first hour, we did cover our technical analysis of Bitcoin, explain where we are in the market, where we think the market is going. We also covered Ethereum. We also talked a little bit about the legality of contracts and derivatives here in America and how to protect yourself from bad exchanges, where to keep your money safely. And of course, we broke down the Forex markets as well and look at where we're positioned on them as far as swing trades. So let's get to current events. We've got a lot to talk about. So first up in today's news, we've got, of course, Wright back in the news again because he lost, because he's not Satoshi. Vindication feels so good, man. Vindication feels very good. Professor Wally, thank you so much for dropping the $25, man. Throwing bands, snapping bands. Highly appreciated, my good friend. And he says, this is for the 1/4 of a pie. But I say, eat the pie. Don't smash in face. No need to monetize humiliation. There's already enough of that in the crypto market already. Can you say liquidated? Learn, earn, and don't let the pie get burned, man. Thank you so much, my good friend. You are the one, the man, the myth, the legend. Shout out to Gunbot University and Wally running it over there, keeping the Gunbot users educated and on top of the markets. Thank you very much, man, as always. And also, thank you so much, Alfsuit. Thank you so much for joining us over there on Twitch, my good friend. And I missed Jared Katandra, cryptocurrency trading, baby daily life, and I'm going to mispronounce that. M-Fo. It's probably just Fo. The M is probably silent. I'm bad with Asian names. Thank you, man. Thank you so much for the support and for joining. Welcome to the community. Maybe we'll do a $100 dinosaur head. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think, man. So the Craigh Wright versus Kleiman legal drama appears to be nearing its final chapters. Early reports from those present at yesterday's trial says the judge has now ruled against Craigh Wright on the basis of not providing credible testimony, submitting false evidence, and even perjury during the course of the trial. The judge ordered forfeit half of all the Bitcoins mined by Wright and Kleiman prior to December 31st, 2013, as well as a full 50% of the intellectual properties that Wright owned before that date to be given by Wright to the Kleiman estate. Furthermore, Craigh Wright does not have the right to a jury trial, and any appeal of the ruling will be difficult if the existing case demonstrated that CSW falsified evidence and generally sought to deceive the court. In Wright's first public statement following the ruling, speaking with Modern Consensus, he claims the ruling will award nearly 500,000 Bitcoin to the Kleiman estate, 2 billion of which will need to be cashed out immediately in order to meet new tax liabilities, apparently fear-mongering of a possible dump. Wright also now claims he has full access to the 1.1 million Bitcoin Tulip Trust, and he will comply with the order to forfeit half. So, is this more lies and bluster from Mr. Craigh wrong? We don't know. It seems like most of the things that come out of his mouth are incorrect. So it's just, it's just good to get vindication, man. It's just good to get vindication. And we now know a legal way where you can call Craigh Wright. Basically, there's a legal way to call Craigh Wright a scammer, or a legal way to say that he's not Satoshi. And that is by literally quoting the court case. Literally quoting the court case. So let me know what your guys' thoughts on this are as well. Haven't really, let's take a gander and see if the let's take a gander and see how the Bitcoin Satoshi's Vision market has responded to this. Obviously, it's been sold off pretty much for the last month after a pretty nice leg up, and then overall just movement to the downside. Not really reacting fundamentally off of the news. So unfortunate to see, but I'm sure it will come. Meanwhile, over in Australia, an Australian woman has pleaded guilty to breaking into an exchange account and stealing 100,000 XRP in January 2018 before transferring it to a Chinese exchange and selling at the highs for approximately 450,000 United States dollars. Catherine Wen, age 24, pled guilty and may face jail time. The sale appeared to be well-timed. 100,000 XRP is worth only $26,700 today. It's like, it's kind of like, hey, I didn't hack anything. Listen, I was just on the internet. I was on Facebook, and, I was talking to my boo, and they happened to just, give me this login password. I thought I was logging into my Gmail. I don't understand computers that well. I'm only 24. I'm like old for millennials. 24 is like old for a millennial. And, I happened to see this like 100,000 XRP. I thought it was like a breakfast cereal, XRP. I thought that was like right next to Kix. I've seen it in the breakfast aisle. I just like pressed the red button. I thought that's what you do. I meant to press the green button, but I pressed the red button, and then, I got $500,000, I didn't do anything wrong. Oh, man. Looks like we might get another chance to buy Bitcoin for 32 cents again. Well, definitely got a chance to buy XRP for 32 cents. Moving right along. All right. So, in the news, Libra launches a bug bounty program. In anticipation of their 2020 launch, the Libra Association has publicly launched their bug bounty program to help isolate any security vulnerabilities or bugs present in the current version of Libra. Written in a blog post today on Libra's website, Michael Engel, who is head of the developer ecosystem at the Libra Association, said that participants can earn up to $10,000 for uncovering critical security issues. Despite regulatory uncertainty, the Libra project appears to be charging ahead with plans to launch in the next year. Uncommented upon by the Libra Developer Association was the bug bounties that were attempted to cash in on the results of them being a centralized currency. So I'm not quoting here, but I do believe that we have insider information that a bug was presented to the Libra Association. I believe the content of it said something along the lines of, you do realize that this is a demonic cryptocurrency that will destroy human liberty and rights around the world and monetize our personal information for your own personal profit and gain. No comment yet from the Libra Association on that bug, and I do not think that they will be paying out the bounty on that. Now, over to Brave, announced on Twitter on August 21st, so a little bit behind the times here, but we do our best around here, you know what I'm saying? A new version of the Brave browser enables users to tip on ad-free video platform Vimeo, that's right, Vimeo, and social news site Reddit using Brave's native basic attention token. Basic attention token is up about 4.6% over the last 7 days, which is like, that's like a sneeze in cryptocurrency. At press time, trading at about 19 cents, according to Coin360. Now, the tipping feature on Reddit and Vimeo comes weeks after it was first introduced on Twitter, following a successful service on its testing browser Brave nightly. Brave initially introduced Reddit and Vimeo tipping as part of the browser's developer preview earlier this summer, according to a post on Reddit published about a month ago. Now, Brave's initiative to introduce a tipping option on Reddit and Vimeo is not the first attempt to allow users of its platform to tip for content. In 2012, Vimeo rolled out its tip jar feature, allowing content creators to get donations of $1 to $500 via credit card or PayPal. However, that service was shut down in July 2015 as Vimeo focused on another tool for content monetization called Vimeo On Demand. No comment. In 2013, Reddit initiated a content tipping option in Bitcoin through the Bitcoin Lightning Network. The service was terminated before, that's not right. Sorry about that. In 2013, Reddit initiated a content tipping option in Bitcoin through the Bitcoin Tip bot, not the Lightning Network. The service was terminated before another Bitcoin tipping option called Change Tip was introduced in 2014. However, Change Tip was also shut down in 2017 after only recording 100,000 signups and more than 350,000 tips. Because when Lightning Network. When Lightning Network. So, when asked why Reddit and Vimeo had decided to switch over to integrating Brave instead of Bitcoin, they said because it sure fucking beats XRP. Moving on to the next article. XRP fanboys, how do you guys feel about one of the worst money companies out there, MoneyGram, being responsible for recent spikes in volume of XRP, aka actual use of XRP? So the head of Ripple's global institutional market team says the company's partnership with payment giant MoneyGram, and by giant I mean crappy company, is already having a major impact on ZERP's overall trading volume. So Brienne M. Madigan, that's a pretty name, Brienne of Tarth. I wonder if she's beaten up any large muscled knights lately with scars on their face. New numbers, she says that new numbers from Crypto Compare that show the volume of ZERP's pair with the Mexican peso is on the rise. When asked This is, I mean, literally, I think my editors just must write this stuff. When asked why the XRP smelled like black tar heroin, Brienne failed to comment. Now, new and notable data shows that although overall ZERP trading volume was down nearly 65%, XRP volumes on crappy exchange Bitso went up more than 25% during the same period of time that MoneyGram payments into Mexico using XRP went live, a real use case driving real volume. So that's good to see. All right, I guess that's good to see. MoneyGram announced it officially launched Ripple-powered cross-border payment solution XRapid on August 7th. And in a call with investors, CEO Alex Holmes touted the digital asset's ability to settle payments in a matter of seconds. When asked to comment about the billions of Ripple yet to be dumped on the market, further depreciating value, Alex Holmes immediately ended the call because, as he said, quote, the refrigerator was running. I am so excited to announce today that MoneyGram is now live and transacting on the Ripple XRapid platform. We started executing trades earlier this week, and all signs point to this being a tremendously beneficial relationship for all parties involved. We are literally settling currencies in seconds, and to quote my friend Larry, this is really cool. He then came out and said in a public announcement after having lassoed and wrestled down the runaway refrigerator, says Alex Holmes. So again, good to see. Good to see. A crappy monetary company, MoneyGram, and crappy cryptocurrency, Ripple, really helping each other boost themselves. No comment on the, no comment again on the MoneyGram buys Telegram. Telemoney becomes new name of XRP. Price booms. All right. Let's see here. Okay. I'm getting a live report. Okay, so it seems that Bitcoin and cryptocurrency traders and investors are nervously watching prices at, what is going on here? What's going on here? Let's see here. Okay, hold on. It appears that there is a gremlin. There is a ghost in the machine. How are you guys doing? You know, I kind of want to talk about the Istanbul hard fork, but we're going to talk about that tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to talk about the rest of this stuff tomorrow. I think that's pretty good. I think that's a pretty good overview of the news. I think that's a pretty good overview of the news. So let's scroll up. Let's scroll up and talk to the chat a little bit, guys. And to do that, we're going to head back into the charts. So how are you guys doing? Ken D, thank you very much, man. Highly appreciate that. That is what I try to do. We try to, I don't know, just tell the truth, man. LJ Studio, thank you so much for subbing over there on YouTube, my good friend. Because when Lightning Network, yes. So how do I feel about MoneyGram? Bitcoin might head deep down into the crypto abyss like a 2-ton man on tuna fish can. Honey, don't you owe me telemoney? No, that's alimony. Wally, we got to get you on the writing team, man. You come up with some good ones. But buy True Exchange XRP pairings. Ghost in the Machine was a really good album. Ghost in the Machine was a really good anime. Have I seen the show Entourage in my younger days? So I know about Entourage, but I've never actually watched it. Just like I've never actually watched The Wire, and I have gotten so much, like, you haven't seen The Wire? And I'm like, nah, man, you haven't seen Battle Angel Alita? So it's like, so it's kind of like, yeah. Ricky Thompson says, I have to give credit to XRP for continuously pumping out the news and still hanging around. Mind you, it's in the cellar. It's still around. Yes. Gone, but not forgotten. And we talked about this the other day too. We talked about who benefits from XRP, right? So they've got so many tokens, like so the Ripple Foundation still has, not the Ripple Foundation, but the Ripple company still has all the the majority of the market cap locked up, right? So the majority of XRP is not in circulating supply. It's locked up by Ripple, and it is continuously sold onto the market, right? And so who benefits from that? Well, the investors to Ripple benefit, not the Ripple holders. The investors benefit. Google, Andreessen Horowitz. The list of individuals that have invested in the Ripple company and R3 just goes on and on and on. Those are individuals who have invested in the startup Ripple and who obviously see their investment appreciate from the Ripple token sale going up. So it is not, the holders of XRP, they are only looking for the currency to go up. But the investors in the Ripple company sees cold hard cash at whatever price. So, when they sell $2 million worth of XRP, they just made $2 million in profit. They're not invested in their own token. They just parrot around Bill Clinton or whoever they can get to go on the circuit that they can pay some money to talk about how great this company is and how great this is for cross-border payments, and they get MoneyGram to say some crap because they're propping up MoneyGram's fraudulent business in the first place. So it's just one of those things, man. I really feel bad for, and again, it doesn't really matter to me if XRP goes to like $6. I don't care, man. It's not a good company. It's not a good business model, and it's just not going to work, man. Decentralization over centralization every single time. It's very clear, very simple. Elijah Finch just slaving away at the USPS job, man. Ken D, this is the most professional channel I've found that doesn't put you to sleep. Well, we try, man. We try to strike a nice balance between we know what we're talking about and hey, you're a strange animal. That's what I know. Yeah, so anyways. How about a tips? How about A of the tips goes to a charity of the highest tipper's choice? I'm cool with that. I'm pretty cool with that. We do give, well, at least I do, with my proceeds. I give every single month to the Water Project, is currently the charity that I'm sponsoring. Also the Electronic Frontier Foundation. The album by the Police. Any updates on the Bitcoin purchased under $1? I don't know anything new yet. I don't know if they're going to scrub that information from their order books. To be fair, I assume the show is an homage to Breaking Bad, and I've never seen it, so I thought I'd be lost the whole time. I don't know, man. Let's see here. The exchange that honored the low BTC purchases in the crazy wicks did put out a release that they are reversing the orders. Okay, can I get that link, man? Let's go down and look at... We got some chart requests. Let's go look at some chart requests, guys. Oh, cool. We got some good stuff to talk about, man. Treese, what's going on, man? Okay, so let's start off with Cape Town Brown in the YouTube comments asks, thank you, very nice Bitcoin chart analysis. What is the purpose of the short run? Why does this happen? How is it orchestrated? The reason for a short run, this is something that we'll just notice throughout trading. And it all comes down to, obviously Bennett does a good job of talking about developing trading strategies to exploit the psychology of retail traders and trading along those facets. But essentially, we have to understand that you have to get, when individuals want to execute large orders, when individuals want to have large orders filled, they need a lot of liquidity. Meaning that if you have institutional order flow, or if you are a market mover, if you want to be exiting your position, the trades that you're going to be putting on has the ability to move slippage in your, to move the market against you, right? So if you are going to go to the exchange and sell 10,000 BTC, well, you're going to move the market, you're going to move the order book down. You're going to incur slippage, meaning you're not going to sell at the price you intended. You're going to sell it subsequently worse and worse and worse and worse and worse prices. This is very obvious, obviously, on any market with low liquidity and thin books. Now, Bitcoin is pretty liquid relative to circulating supply, but we still have the situation where we have a distance between individuals that are retail traders that are not able to move the market and the market participants who are able to move the market. So a stop run happens. So let's just go look at the charts. All right. So a stop run is going to be identified by price generally wicking very on high momentum, right? High momentum and high volatility above generally a swing high or a swing low, and then price moving violently in the other direction, right? And the reason that this happens is because anybody that was short in this area has stop orders placed right above this area. This is going to be, unfortunately, just a place where a lot of people place their stop losses directly above resistance or directly below support. So these are areas that are hot spots for manipulation. So we'll talk about how it's orchestrated and how it actually plays, but let's talk about the purpose of it. So if you wanted to take price short and you have very large orders to fill, and you know that a lot of individuals went short around this area or somewhere in this area, and they have their stop losses placed, because again, a lot of people are scared, a lot of people are trying to go short, and you're trying to get short with an optimum supply, right? You have a lot of Bitcoin, you have a lot of capital that you want to put short, and you can't just go short, or you're going to move the market against you. You're going to incur slippage. So you need to be entering your orders at a moment in time when there is a lot of liquidity to absorb your order so that you can get filled at an optimum price. Now, one thing that you could obviously do is, instead of manipulating the market, is setting limit orders, high up and scaling into your short position. But that incurs risk because you are not sure that price is going to rise and hit your limit orders, right? So what you can do is, if you have the capital to orchestrate this and pull this off, which again, this happens in every single market. So again, people can say, this doesn't happen. Conspiracy. This happens all the freaking time, man. This happens all the time. And this is coming from somebody who's been in the offices of prop firms, of trading desks, of professional traders. I've been all over the place, man. It absolutely happens, dude. Absolutely happens. Let's see here. So you can obviously set limit orders, but you're not sure that price is going to run up that far. So what you do is you set your limit orders somewhere, or you wait to execute your market orders, or you set your bot to do this for you. And then you run up price by going to an exchange and market buying a whole bunch of Bitcoin, because you have the capital to do so. So you market buy a whole bunch of Bitcoin, which is going to move the order book up to where on the futures platform, you have a ton of short order sell that dwarf the capital, that dwarf the liquidity of your trade to the upside, right? So you're going to expend a little capital to push price up. These generally, again, this all comes down to like orchestration and how this happens. But again, you push price up on spot. The futures markets respond to it. You have massive orders, or you market sell directly into that liquidity because you are now triggering the stop buy orders, right? The stop buy orders of everybody that was already short, right? So if you are short, what is your stop loss? Your stop loss is an order to buy. It is a stop buy order, because to get out of a short, you have to cover. You have to buy back into the market. And you can only buy if there's somebody selling to you, right? So, and you can only go short, you can only sell if there's somebody to buy to you. So if you can manipulate a point in time where there is a lot of simultaneous market buying, and you can and you have your limit orders set at those levels where they're market buying into, you're going to get your orders filled at a very optimum price. And there are no legitimate buyers in this area anyways, at least not enough to appreciate price beyond into a breakout situation. And then you've got your short order filled right at the top of the market, and price moves down. So typically a stop run is always going to happen, generally happens, to wick out individuals who were already short and who had their stop loss just placed too close, because it's an opportunity for savvier traders and investors to take advantage of retail traders setting their stop losses in incorrect areas to fill orders at a more optimum price. There are other reasons why stop runs happen, but in general, that is the reason why it occurs, because the opportunity is there, because there are still so many retail traders that will place their stop loss in the wrong area and just open themselves up to this activity in the market. So that's typically how it's orchestrated. You're going to go onto the spot exchange, buy price up. The arbitrage bots kick in, or the speculators on the futures exchange respond to this buying activity. The speculators respond to this activity and bid price up. You bid price up much more violently, right? Or look for price appreciation, then you market buy, and you get people to FOMO into a breakout trade. You create a very large candle. You're triggering all the market stop buy orders for people that were already short, and you're filling your limit sell orders to the downside, and boom, price goes down. All right. And then he also said, I also forgot about a limit buy order right before I went to bed. The next morning, I got a liquidation email. It happened with that short run. Oh, sorry, man. All right, we got a long comment here. Let me read this for a second. Chris S. So, okay, this is a pretty good comment. Chris S says, hey, Justin, I stumbled on your channel and I am very much enjoying it. Thank you for all the hard work you and your team put into making this content. Thank you very much, man. That said, I would have to respectfully disagree with your opinion on why U.S. superiority is declining, relatively at least. While I think you bring up good points with regard to the importation of communistic philosophies coming out of the Soviet bloc, I think it has more to do with the rise and adoption of Keynesian economics by central banks and governments. This also aligns with the timeline. If America really did end up down the communist path, I think America and the world would be in a far worse off place. It would be unrecognizable. Keynesian economic theory aligns much more closely to where we were before World War II to where we are today. For example, communists adhere to strict market structures and planning, while the Keynesian model encourages periodic intervention to right the ship, so to speak. I could probably find more relevant examples, but I fear I would just confirm my predisposition, and I know what you think about that. Again, thank you for the great content and would appreciate anything, he says, anything that you have to say on the matter. P.S. I am mostly a YouTube watcher, not a commenter, but you momentarily made me question my own ideas, so I figured I would share. Well, thank you very much, Chris S. I highly appreciate that, man. I don't want to say I disagree with you too much, man. I really don't think that... let me think about this. I don't really see that the two are mutually exclusive. I mean, I absolutely agree with you on the spread and adoption of Keynesian economics, right? So I think that, again, I don't see how the two are mutually exclusive. I think that absolutely contributes to the situation that we were talking about yesterday. I think that absolutely contributes to why America has found itself in such an unfortunate economic situation where we are So I think that they kind of go hand in hand, right? The Keynesian, so I think that it is the rise. It's a couple things. So I think that it is the rise of socialist philosophy and the spread of socialist philosophy amongst the populace and the infection of that into our ruling government class. I think that absolutely has happened. I think that the adoption of Keynesian economics has widened the door for that to allow us to have worse of an economic impact because that has opened the door for more government intervention into the economy. But I do think that it is the socialistic influence that has increased our debt, right? So us creating the welfare state, us increasing unfunded liabilities, us, just dramatically spending far too much on these things that are not relevant. And the Keynesian economics opens the door for America to regulate far more of the economy than necessary, and allowing them to, again, manipulate the currency to right the ship, as you so succinctly point out. Yeah. And again, we find ourselves, and there's another aspect of this too, which is that we're unaware of any, hegemonic state that has lasted kind of beyond that 300-year mark, right? And empires fall. And America has positioned itself where we're just doing too much, right? Where we're just doing too much. America, as I said, I'm proud to be an American because I'm proud of I'm proud of what this country was founded on, right? This country was founded on standing up to oppression, giving power to individuals, granting local autonomy to local communities, allowing individuals to have religious freedom, allowing individuals to have freedom from the government in economic matters. But over time, we've just institutionalized and granted an insane amount of power and authority to the federal government, which is centralization of power. And that never ends well. Power just corrupts, right? Power just corrupts, and the more power that you give to a centralized authority, the more that centralized authority finds justifications to increase its reach and control over the body populace. And that is absolutely what's happened over the last 50 years. Really bad. I think it's undeniable that we obviously have. I think it's undeniable, in my opinion, that we've had a influx of socialistic philosophy from the fall of the Soviet Union and the exportation of a lot of communist sympathizers into Western civilization, because they ran away from communism when the Bolsheviks took power in Russia, and they brought their thoughts and opinions with them. But yeah, I think you do bring up a very germane point about the spread of Keynesian economics and getting away from Austrian School of Economics as well. I think that most people are just not taught that. I mean, it's just this is perhaps not germane to the conversation, but just this morning I was talking to Scott, like, man, there's so many little tasks that we have, this is, just kind of speaking out of school, but it's like, I remember when I was a kid, I would go out and hustle. I would mow lawns, and I would just go around the block and I would knock on people's doors and ask them, is there anything that I can do to earn money? Because I told my dad I wanted something, and he said, okay, well, go out and get the money and I'll buy it for you. That's how I grew up, and that's how I raised my daughter, and that's how I raised my kids. And my kids want something. We've got a huge chore list on the chart, and we track their money. We kind of make it a competition, so they're always competing against each other to make more money. And they're always asking if they can do things and chores, and it's just awesome, man. It's just awesome. I think that's the proper way to raise a kid. And they're responsible for their money. They're responsible for their savings. I make them responsible for securing their money. If they lose their money, it doesn't get reimbursed. That's your fault. We've talked about secure ways to save money and store money. They have Bitcoin, so they understand how that works. And I just don't see that. I just don't see that too much, man. I don't know if it's just the helicopter parenting or if people are afraid to let their kids run around outside. I just don't understand what it is. That's why I choose to live where I choose to live. and, you know, let my kids run around like little savages. And if they want something, they go out and figure it out. You know, it's my job to raise them to be strong and smart and perceptive. And the earlier you start with that, the better off there is. So where are all the kids running around? I mean, you go see these videos like the 1920s. You got kids selling newspapers, and you got kids selling this and kids selling that. And, you know, the exact same thing's true for people. You know, like if you want to give people skills, then allow them to be employed for whatever wage they're consensually willing to work for, so that they can get a job. Because if you let people get paid less, then they can get a job learning a skill at a good place to work. And then they learn a job skill. They learn on the job training, which will then qualify them for a better skill. If you're not useful to anybody, if you don't have skills and services that are not useful to anybody, you're not going to make a lot of money. You have to be valuable. You have to provide value. That is how it works in a free market society. Value for value. You provide value, and I pay you well for that value. Because anybody that can get over that, you know, there's a lot of people that talk about this like poverty mindset. You know, there a lot of your mentality keeps you back from reaching your goals. You know, once you realize that you save a lot less time, or you save more time and you save money by paying a good price for a good value, and this generally comes with people, right? So if people do a good job, I pay them a good price, and I'm always looking for quality. I'm always looking for qualitative differences and less quantitative differences between value and services. I just think that's I don't see why that is. I don't see why there's not more kids running around asking for stuff, because there's so many little jobs around the house or in any business that they'd be like, yeah, man, if like somebody will come like for $3 an hour, like I will happily have you do this. And then, you know, over time you can learn, like, you know, you'll learn how to do a greater job. And it's like, you come to me and you're like, hey, by the way, I know how to do this, this, and this now. Wow. Now you are now worth $15 an hour. Cool. And now you're secure. All right. And then we got some people asking about Link, and then I'll get to the chat. We got about 7 minutes left in the show. So let's go look at Link. Let's go look at Link on the daily, give an overall perspective for the charts. Okay, so Link on the daily I don't really like. We've got this ranging activity with a bearish tilt, right? Obviously, you can see that, you know, the clear pattern, lower highs and lower lows. And we're in this consolidation period. Now, again, I'm going to be biased and assume that this is redistribution. As I said before, when we talk about the four phases of the market cycle, you know, markup, accumulation, distribution, and mark down, and then of course the two antecedents, which is going to be redistribution and reaccumulation. Again, I don't really like market structures that look like this. I like to see clear signs, and you can see Wadatar Explosion for the most part telling us in very key areas to stay out and not look for the trade. And Wadatar Explosion correctly identifying the bearish aspect of the market right now. Now, where are we at? You know, we are at support. So could I see a return to the baseline? Yes, I could. That would potentially be... That would be a reversion to the mean trade. You're potentially looking at maybe a 3 to 5% swing to the upside on Link. Those aren't trades that I take. I like to see a very clear bullish signal from Link, which is just not what we have right now. I think that price is low. I think that it could get a lot lower. You know, and speaking about Link, again, I don't really want to comment on this too much, but I'm seeing a lot of information coming out, especially over there on Twitter, about how Sergey is dumping Link on Binance out of the developer wallet for Link. I don't know the full story behind that, so please correct me where I go astray. And I know there's a lot of like rabid Link fans, but I think that Link is really, really highly priced, and I don't see the value of Link fundamentally. I think that it's not I don't see the value in it as a project, right? I'm not a Link investor. I'm not an altcoin. These things pump, and they can pump really, really, really high. And I know that Link is 4chan's favorite coin, so I'm not here to upset the 4chaners out there, right? And I'm just trying to provide my best analysis. So from a fundamental perspective, man, from a fundamental perspective, I don't, you know, I would take that with it. I would look into that. If you are a Link investor, if you're holding a large amount of Link, I would definitely look into the block explorer, because it seems that there's a lot of evidence that there is a lot of Link coming out of the developer wallet in regular, consistent batches and being deposited to Binance. And in cryptocurrency, that's kind of a no-no, right? We don't like to see developers dumping their funds on Binance, all right? Or any exchange for that matter. So that typically screams exit scam. Now, Does that mean anything? Does that mean that the coin can't continue to be speculated on? No, but I would say that if you look at what Link has been doing, which has mostly been in a massive bull run for quite a while with the ebbs and flows, but overall extremely bullish, one of the best performing assets of the last 12 months. When you start seeing developers selling, that is generally a sign that, like, Mayday, Mayday, we might be at the top of the market. We might be at the top of the market. So anyways, Minx below the zero line, water tower explosion signaling bearish. I will say that we are kind of oversold on time transformation, and if we do, I clicked the button. I'm sorry about that. If we, let's take a gander here. Nah, man, this is not going to be bullish divergence whatsoever. So, yeah, this doesn't look good. The most I see out of this is a reversion of the mean reversal trade, which is not a trade I would take. 3 to 5%, 3 to 5% to the upside before we retest the baseline, and then continuing on in the bearish trend. Again, rising explosion level, bearish water tower explosion. That pretty much tells me all I need to know. Let's scroll up here through the chat a little bit. Answer questions before we go, man. One moment. As we were. Ricky says, Kraken honored the June 2nd, 2019 drop from 9.2 to $80 for a few seconds before rebounding from a fat finger sell order of 1,125 BCC at 125 bucks. Rich M, can you explain a trailing stop? Yeah. I don't think right now is the best time, but let me put that down in the show notes and we'll talk about that for next show. It's not working. What are the best arbitrage bots? Definitely not arbitraging.co. I don't really know, my man. That's not what I do. I know there's a lot of bots that offer them. I don't really think there's... If it's like a bot you can buy, I don't think it's probably going to be very good. There are arbitrage pools, and they run their own software. So there's no arbitrage. There's no arbitrage to futures platforms. Arbitrage only occurs in spot markets. Jai English says, hey, Justin, thanks for another great video today. Just wondering, the Fisher transform doesn't seem to work on BTC pairs. Is there any other indicators that we could use just as an entry indicator? So the Fisher transform has a programming error. You can look at the way the Fisher transform's calculated and remove that one line. But other than that, I would recommend using H. Potter's Fisher transform indicator. You know, it would be pretty easy for me to just make a Fisher transform that works on alts and publish that. I'll write that down as something to do, man. Did I check out the moon phases indicator? I did not yet. I'm sorry. Andre says, hey man, longtime lurker, thanks for the content. If Craig Wright dumps his Bitcoin and there is a flash crash, would you use a VPVR to set a low buy order? I definitely don't think that's not, I definitely do not think that is an invalid choice. I have stank bids on Coinbase, man. I'm not going to lie. Dan, good luck with the soccer, my good man. Don Candon says, Justin got a text from Satoshi. Market's about to blow up. Pump it, yeah. Yeah, you know, Marlon Jones, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'm just going to bring up numbers, right? So, like we're talking like millions and millions and millions of dollars every month, right? And they've been doing this for a long time. Like, what the hell are they developing that costs that much money? So, and I also never said Link is not some fake project. I'm sure it does what it purports to do. I just don't see how that's a good investment. Changed my mind. Have I checked out Tixel? No, man, I'm sorry. I have not looked at Tixel yet. And I didn't mean to say that like, no, stop bugging me. I'm just sorry, man. I just have not had an opportunity to do it, man. We've been so busy around here, man. I don't know if it looks like I'm chilling, relaxed on stream, but I've just made the dedication to be here for you guys. And we do the 2-hour show. And when it's not this, I mean, I'm up at 6 o'clock in the morning and I work till 5 o'clock at night. And often after that as well, you know, obviously, because then I trade after that. I spend about an hour with my family. Then I come back and trade. Then I go back and spend time with my family. And then I often program at night too. So again, I'm not, don't want to get it super heated, man, but I've read a whole lot about Link. I'm pretty familiar with what they do. I understand oracles, both from a what can they do for the world and what can they do on the blockchains from a technical and from a proprietary perspective. I don't see how their token is a good investment. That has nothing to do with the value of their token. I think that that is the flaw in the argument. I got a lot of questions about silver. Let's talk about silver tomorrow too. We'll talk about silver a little bit more in depth. And again, listen. So I'll make this I'll just kind of make this my last point because I feel like I do this all the time, man. And I feel like people misinterpret what I say, like I'm a futter or like I fucking hate these projects. I don't, man. I don't wish any ill, and I don't think anybody's stupid for investing in Link. You have to invest in what you believe in. You don't have to explain your investments to me. You only have to explain your investments to yourself. If it makes sense to you, man, then all the power in the world to you, dude. And I want you to succeed. I want you to make money. I'm not against you. I am not invested in just about any altcoin that you could possibly name. I'm invested pretty heavily in Bitcoin. There are a few other cryptocurrencies that I am invested in as well. I'll trade anything because that is the attractiveness of cryptocurrency to me. But yeah, man, I'm not out to like hate on these projects. I just think that it kind of comes down to the argument of, okay, so why is the token valuable, or why do they need a token for this? And that argument is usually where people get, I'm not saying that you are, but that's usually where people say that I'm stupid and I don't know what I'm talking about. You know? And you're not whatsoever, so don't take that the wrong way, my friend. But, and again, I could be completely wrong. Maybe there is an absolutely beneficial, sweet, dope sauce use case for the token. And thank you, man. Thank you for taking the time to explain to me a little bit, because I don't know everything, and I'm always looking to learn. But on that notion, we got to go, guys. Hey, guys, thank you guys so much for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Shout out to anybody. Having a lower third right here would be absolutely fantastic. If anybody wants to make that up for me, I'd highly appreciate it, guys. Thank you for joining me for another exciting episode of Breaking Bitcoin. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about trailing stops. We're going to talk about silver, too. I'm going to go into depth. I'm going to go more in depth on silver, guys. If you guys want to learn how we trade, if you guys would like access to our tools and learn our rules, make sure to check out premium.krakencryptocurrency.com to trade right along with us and get mentoring from our team. If you like amazing crypto podcasts, make sure to check out this podcast at breakingbitcoin.money. You can even say, hey, G, let's listen to the latest episode of Breaking Bitcoin. And you know what G means. It means, hey, insert, the Oogle word. Anyway, so if you guys have any questions, comments, or concerns, sarcastic remarks, or death threats, leave them in the comment section down below. I will try to respond to you within the next 48 hours. Make sure to hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe, hit the bell icon if you have not already, because notifications don't really matter, and YouTube is against anybody that talks about the new cryptocurrency because they're partnered up with Libra Coin. I think that is obviously fine. That is the conclusion that I've come to. I'm Justin Wise. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Same crypto network, same crypto time. Trade safely. Have a good evening.